Hey guys, it's been a long time. I wanted to do an update video on my situation. As many of you know, I've been handling things legally in the last half year, and I want to announce now that we've reached a legal agreement.
Who the fuck threw this?
People in my replies talking like you weren't raised right, like what were your parents doing? I see people saying like you will be a predator too one day.
Now, this is a widely talked about topic in the Smash community and kind of the esports scene entirely, but that's for another time in this video. I want to focus on and explain the events that have caused the Smash scene to be in the state it is and what I believe the future for this community will be. Let's dive into the uncertainty of this community's future from their past actions. I think it's honestly important for me to mention something that is bigger than just the Smash community, and something that is far above its scale. Esports as a whole have been declining greatly, and that is simply a fact across the board, not just in the Smash scene. This has many sponsors pulling out, or players being dropped from orgs and events. So to an extent, it's not entirely the Smash scene's fault, but at the same time, it sort of is, because some of the things they've done and actions that are repeated lead to this decline in its own community as well. But we'll get to that. The Smash community is a collective of people that, play Smash Brothers, duh. Mostly Melee and Ultimate. Everything is Eclipse. Everything else is kind of irrelevant. This community is good and bad, and sometimes, really, really bad, like Omega bad. But I believe I should definitely explain a little bit about the community and some of its own self-destructive actions that even go beyond the illegal stuff, because that is already egregious. In 2020, the Smash community outed many top players and casters as some sickos. In some cases, are a little more complex than others, but more importantly, this really put into perspective some of the darkest corners of this outwardly facing positive community at the time. Might I add, the image of this community has completely shifted, but with all the negatives, and trust me, these aren't minor things and should not be taken lightly at all. But I will say this community has brought people together and raised people up in the wider FGC community, or had people go on to better things, like casters go on to different scenes, or just do more in life, even with all the bad things that have happened. Sort of like, HBox, Melee player, YouTuber, done casting, he's risen a lot. Even still, though, this community has a wicked fascination with tearing itself apart and creating divides in the community based off playstyles and characters that people play and grind, which to an extent I get it's kind of just going to be there in a FGC community. But when it gets to the point of constant hates of players, and as you know, that's kind of not the best thing for the community. But maybe I'm crazy. Also, this community has a problem with security, which was brought to attention by Creator Technicals.
After getting a full $50 refund, I borrowed my girlfriend's dress and her mom's bra and began planning my infiltration. Alright, so I'm actually at the venue right now. This is my boyfriend. He's going to help me infiltrate, and we're going to crash grand finals.
Wait, do I actually have to be a boyfriend? No,
You don't have to be my boyfriend. Just fucking walk next to me. It's easier for me to get through. Yeah.
What do you have in the
Yo guys, so I successfully broke into the tournament. It was the easiest shit I've ever done. There's literally no security. If you look over there, not a single guard or anyone posted up. So yeah, I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting for grand finals, and we can get this started.
Which is not good since there are minors at these events, and just, you know, people in general, people shouldn't be getting hurt for going to a Smash Brothers event. Okay, the security should be well advised, definitely. Likely the biggest news for Smash this year, and of course, it is absolutely terrible news. Also, just before the Smash World Tour drama, we had the loss of the Luigi player Elegant due to his inappropriate actions while drunk and allegedly drunkenly pissed on a girl's bed and her leg. He's kind of been MIA ever since then. But now we have to talk about the complete mess that is the Smash World Tour situation.
You know, it opens up with them saying that they have to cancel the upcoming championships, which is like in 2 weeks from now, less than 2 weeks from now, as well as any 2023 Smash World Tour plans that they have. And you know, I mean, obviously, like, there's a lot of legal reasons behind this, and there's stuff that they couldn't, you know, discuss with us, of course. And I get that, but like the main meat of it, and this is kind of like in the how we got here, the main meat of it is they're putting a lot of the blame or like focus on the actions of Panda CEO Alan, right? And look, Alan's a pretty aggressive businessman. Let's call it what it is. He's a pretty aggressive businessman. And I guess it just was to the point where he was telling events like, hey, 2022, you know, they're not going to be here, you know, going forward. Like, Panda, we got the exclusivity. They even try to put pressure on BTS. That's crazy to me. Like, you know, that is a lot. That is a lot. And, you know, at one hand, I can understand where you're coming from. Like, yo, you know, we have the only licensing officially. We want to be the sole keepers of this, the official Smash tournaments. Okay, I can understand that. But the thing is, the community wasn't based off licensing. The community was based off the hardworking individuals of the grassroots scene. That's what built this shit up. That's it. Point blank, period.
Smash World Tour was meant to be something to basically chuck a sensu bean at the Smash community and stretch out their reach much further than what it already is to something much higher and kind of head of all the tournaments. And it was licensed by Nintendo, or was meant to be licensed by Nintendo. Nintendo released a statement as well detailing events that, you know, were happening and promises, business deals that kind of fell through with Panda at the time. And Alan, he would later come back with a response and stated that Smash World Tour lied and, you know, coordinated lies about his character relating to him being greedy and wanting to kind of have dominance over the other Smash tournaments and get them to license with Nintendo. And then Nintendo, you know, obviously they pulled out. They decided no. And they basically canceled Smash World Tour by taking their license and then stating that, well, you need a license to run a tournament from Nintendo, and they kind of snatched that away. So inadvertently, not even directly, you know, lighted them out. They took them out. After this, players like Tweak and Leo got dropped, but then, you know, they got picked back up by Luminosity, so that's good. This has started a debate amongst the community whether, you know, the community should or shouldn't stand with Nintendo to further the community, and I will get to how I feel about that at the end of this video. Summit also had its last tournament in February, and it was great. Definitely a highlight in the space that this community is, you know, in right now. And Ludwig, what actually recently, like actually great news recently, his brand, Off-Brand, ironic for the name, but they would buy BTS back. They own BTS. They have like some of their employees. So with Ludwig's care and love for the Smash community, it could come back. Summit could come back. So that's a great thing. Major W.
I want to tell this story. So this was like before the pandemic, and Smash Ultimate was kind of like at its height. And there was this plan from VG Bootcamp to get me, Coney, and TK on the same team. Okay.
Oh
Do you
yeah.
remember this? Do you remember this? And
I forgot.
The thing that was so wrong with this plan was like, we liked going to Xanadu, but at that point we hadn't committed to going every single week anymore. We all had other things going on. And since they moved, it was a little bit more of a hike for some of us. But their plan was like, okay, here's what we're going to do. We need you guys to show up every single week, okay, for Melee and Ultimate, okay, and commentate all of the top 8s. And I was like, okay, what's your offer? And I'm just going to say this now because it's who cares at this point. Their offer was not the greatest thing. And then on top of that, they were like, oh, by the way, you can't work for the competition, so no summits. I was like, huh. I'm sorry. So that deal kind of just stayed on the table, and we were like, well, I'll see you at Glitch.
Yeah, I mean, things were pretty. I don't know why I'm getting all delayed on the thing. It was pretty bad. It was not a great offer, but it was one of those things where it was like, we're friends. I'm trying to help you out. We're homies, whatever. But we were like, we got to show up and do top 8s for Melee and Ultimate. So that's like 6 to 8 hours a week, every week. Right? Like, let's say, let's be conservative. 6 times 4, that's 24 hours a month that we got, and not considering driving, right? Because we got to get to the area. It was a tough spot to be in. Yeah.
Bro, the only opportunity. How long ago was this?
I want to say like a year and a half, maybe before COVID became a thing. Wasn't too long, right?
Probably like 20. I think it was at the beginning of Ultimate because the idea was like, Ultimate's just popping off. Like, let's lock this in, and like, to their credit, like, it's not a bad idea because what they were trying to do is recapture the magic of that PM Smash 4 time, but like, we were kind of past locals at that point. Like, the local vibe was just different,
Very briefly, I need to talk about WaDi. WaDi was a figure in this community for a while that was a great labber and definitely one of my favorite Mewtwo's, but his situation completely halted this. WaDi had a girl move in and fully depend on him, and they had agreed to, for her to be a housewife for him, and would demand sexual acts and attempt sexual acts on her, which is not good. Keep in mind, this is all alleged, and after like 2 weeks or so, he would just, say no, we wanted to move on, he wanted to break up, which is kind of already really messed up since you had this person completely uproot their life situation to come live with you, and then you in 2 weeks were just, no, I don't want to anymore. Also, he is alleged to have a sexual encounter with a 15 to 16-year-old at the age of 20, which I shouldn't have to explain why that's not good. It is alleged. WaDi's response was basically, nah, she's just mad and she's trying to run my name through the mud, and then proceeded to later ghost and delete socials, and he has been quiet ever since. It's a shame. I was waiting for his response to, maybe hear his side and his truth of the situation, but he's been MIA, he's been gone, he hasn't said anything. Now, for my final thoughts on this community's incredibly bleak future, I actually do not believe the technicals mindset that this community is completely unsalvageable. I think it can be redeemed. It's just incredibly hard. And with people like Ludwig, I think actually this community could get on the right track. But I think it's likely that if Smash wants to go higher than what is working with Nintendo, will be necessary. It will be a necessary evil. Well, hear me out. I do not like Nintendo as a company, and their actions and practices are greatly anti-consumer. I have talked about this myself. Go watch those videos, by the way. But I think working with the Nintendo is the only way to soar higher with this community. With the security of some events like VGC allowing a banned attendee there, it is sort of understandable why Nintendo would want to work with a community that partakes in these practices. This would be terrible for Nintendo's brand. And as we've seen, Nintendo does not care about us, the fans. They do not care about us. At the end of the day, their image is what they want to uphold, and their money is what they want to make right. That is what Nintendo cares about. Nintendo, you know, due to them rejecting us for years, people don't really want to work with them, even if given the opportunity, since Smash has widely been grassroots for a long time. But I think that this change would be necessary. It's still, you know, F Nintendo. I don't like Nintendo as a company and their actions, but I just think that this is the only upward elevation that this community have. I just don't think grassroots can go as far as I wish it could. Not that grassroots tournaments are not cool, and the scene in itself is not cool. It's just, I just think if we want to go higher, that's just where we'd have to go. But maybe I'm crazy. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. A little bit different, a little more serious, a little bit more expository of a video than others. But besides that, make sure to like and subscribe if you're new, and let me know in the comments below what you think the fate of this community is. Other than that, I'll see you later, and stay safe.